Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and being a part of this session today. My name is Insia Daud, and I'm the social media manager for ItsHerWay. I also operate as a freelancer, especially working with the small businesses in the UAE. Now, before we begin, I'd like to tell you all a little bit about ItsHerWay. Most of our tribe, most of you out there already know us very well, but for those who are not a part of ItsHerWay yet, we are a tribe of 2,000 plus women owned businesses. ItsHerWay is a platform that supports and empowers passionate and creative businesswomen in the region, and we are currently operating across the UAE. Our mission is to accelerate financial independence in women and women who have passion and want to make some profits. So, we do this not just by supporting them as a community, but we also provide commerce channels for them to sell their products and services. Now, before any further delay, I'd like to introduce you all to Armin Jamula, who's the founder and CEO of ItsHerWay, and she will be addressing today's session on how to network meaningfully and drive business growth. So, over to you, Armin.
Hello, good evening, happy Friday. I see a few more people are joining, but I'm just going to go on with it. You can always see the on-demand session and see the recorded session. Thank you so much for joining, guys. I'm just going to share my screen in a bit. Before I do that, Insia, you'll have to help me with seeing if there are any questions on the other channels. If they come through, just let me know. I wanted to ask around this group today, how many of you firstly have a LinkedIn profile? It's fine if you're a business owner or you have a vocational profession, but how many of you have an active LinkedIn profile? If I can hear some answers or feedback or just responses on the chat, or you can just raise your hand if you know how to raise your hand. Okay, I see a few hands raised. All right, I'm going to wait just a few minutes. Okay, and the second question, which is important to this topic today, is yeah, you can lower your hands now, ladies. Thank you. Thank you for your response. At least I get to understand the kind of people we have today in the session. How many of you have actively participated in the past 6 months in a networking session, including the one we had earlier this month? ItsHerWay. I know some of you all attended, so thank you so much. Okay. All right, that's a lower number than we can see. So that is something that we will also talk about, because it feels like we're not going out there and meeting a lot of people. If you have attended the session or had a chance to view the video that we released earlier this week during the session that we did with Iram Sefa. She is a personal brand consultant and an amazing professional. She also was talking about this one thing that I'm going to quote her on. You need to select your networks right. So it doesn't necessarily be, need to be that you're going everywhere and anywhere for networking. You have to be relevant wherever you go. And the networks, all networks have usually a niche. So it's good to kind of pick your niche and then stick to that so that you get the right kind of visibility there. It's relevant and you don't feel out of place. It's better for you as well. So thank you for that question. I have 2 more questions, but I'll ask you guys along the way. I'm going to just share my screen. And yep. So networking for business impact. Why is networking important? I think all of us here who are business owners, who are business owners of small and medium businesses, are the biggest marketing channel and the only marketing channel someone will see in the first year. So if we don't talk about our business and ourselves, and we don't impersonate our brand effectively, not a lot of people will be knowing about us. Not a lot of people will be aware of us. A lot of times, even today, people ask me, let's say, I haven't heard about ItsHerWay much. And, you guys are so active. You guys are talking about the fact that you have 2,000 entrepreneurs and so on and so forth. We haven't seen much of you. My response to them is usually, we haven't been targeting you perhaps, or we are targeting the right kind of people, because yes, we don't want to go, the awareness way. Even right now, we want to be relevant to the people who will benefit from us as a business as well, because we are a closed network of small entrepreneurs. The same would go with you. Let me take an example of one of the attendees over here, one of the brand owners, More by Us. More by Us, Aradhana, the founder, she is a small business owner. She and her family create items from crochet to cement work and many other upcycled activities they do in-house to spend a lot of good time together, but also they kind of commercialize it. They have a CSR angle also, but their wares and their products are beautiful. Aradhana does a lot of crochet, so she has put up amazing items, coasters, knickknacks, toys. So what she does is tries to be in relevant networks. Try to be in the relevant networks yourself, but also try to be in business networks where you can be one of your kind, So yeah, Aradhana, I've seen you in a few sessions, so thank you for attending. And I hope you'll keep attending so that we can also talk more and more about you. All right, so I want to just start with this quote that has been one of the main drivers of my life, and it starts with, no one will ever pay you what you're worth. Let it sink in. Yeah, no one will ever pay you what you're worth means no one will ever find meaning or find value in you. They will only pay you what they think you're worth, which means you need to control that. And how do you control that? Even in this quote by Casey Brown, she mentions that the people opposite from you are looking at you as a brand, as an individual, as somebody who's going to fill a need for that, for that individual. Your buyer, your customer is looking at you or considering you to fill a need, to fulfill a need, right? So they will only fulfill that need if the amount of money that they are willing to risk or willing to pay you for that matches what you're asking them for. So they will only pay you what they think you're worth, but you control their thinking. Now, how is this relevant in a service brand or a product brand? Simply put, if you are pricing yourself at a certain level, you have to also match that with the why. Why do you think you are pricing yourself at this level? If you don't have the answer up front and center for the why, the opposite person will only consider it with their limited experience and expectations. So if I'm not, taking Aradhana's example again, if I'm not a special, if I'm not a crochet creator, and I don't know the amount of time, money, and the material that is used by a creator like Aradhana, and I see her price point at, I don't know, $100 for a certain element, I would always and obviously feel that it's not worth it. It's actually not the truth, because probably Aradhana, when she has placed the product, has not given me enough information and not convinced me enough to be willing to pay that amount. Now, whether someone can afford it or not is secondary. If they are considering you as a brand anywhere, and if you have put a price to your service or your product anywhere, those two things, your brand, your price, and your proposition, which is your description of your product or your service, needs to match and be in line and be positioned in such a way that people want to kind of purchase it at the same point. Now, why is this important to networking? Simply because 3 out of 5 people you meet won't ever remember you after you've passed them by in networking sessions. Now, this is again making the right impact, right? If you are positioning yourself right from the beginning, you are positioning yourself for success. Not right now, probably a little later, but you're positioning yourself for success. If you know exactly what you want and you know exactly what you're providing for the price that you're providing, people will be more convinced to purchase products and services from you. Now, I want to just spend a little time on this slide and explain to you why is it important to not try and impact 5 people out of the, all the 5 people out of the, network that you meet. Let's say in a networking session, which is 2 hours, you've been able to only interact with 5 individuals. Yes, 3 out of 5 will not remember you. In the beginning, they might not, because you probably haven't gone up on the stage or hadn't even had the chance to go up on stage to talk, to talk about your brand. So you don't have impact across. But those 3 people that didn't remember you, it's fine. You'll probably catch up with them later. The 2 people who actually have remembered you, what are you doing with them? How have you nurtured that relationship and that conversation further? They will also forget you soon if you don't nurture the conversation and you don't keep the connection. That crowd of 50, 10% you've been able to interact with, right? That's 5. And out of those 10%, a huge number actually has been able to recall what you said to them. Let's capitalize that. Let's do, exactly what we need to right after. Let's be on their top of mind. Let's market ourselves right. I'm just going to stop here for a sec. Is there any question that, you want me to answer? Or if there is a thought that comes to your mind, please keep it in the chat. And whenever I have time, I'll look at it, yeah? So just remember, it doesn't matter how many people you've spoken to that evening, that afternoon, that morning, but the people you've spoken to and you speak to need to remember you. Even if they don't remember you that time, which is going to be the case, at least try and follow through. How would you follow through? Simple to start with. Break the ice with a genuine statement. Start your conversation with a genuine statement. It can be a compliment. It can be something about, if you've known that person and you've seen them in multiple networking events, it would be, I've seen you before in a few networking events. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I do this, and this is my business. Let me know what you have so we can talk further, or just, start with you bringing yourself forward first. Follow through also with introducing yourself. If you have a compliment that you have to offer or a statement that you have to offer, follow it with introducing yourself before the awkward silence sort of creeps into the conversation. Try to do that on a regular basis. When you introduce yourself, try to spend as less time as possible so that you have more time to listen to what they say. I would recommend spending just about 20 to 30 seconds introducing yourself. And when you do that, try to craft it in a way and practice it. When you practice it, even if it is, just roughly practiced, you should have it in your mind in bullet points, 3 to 4 bullet points, where you talk about your name, what you do, why you do it, or, since how long you've been doing it, and what is it that you've come here for at that event, let's say. And one of the things that would really help is use impactful, larger than life statements to describe your business. So when I stand up and I introduce ItsHerWay, I always say ItsHerWay, depending on the room, I would say I'm the founder of ItsHerWay. ItsHerWay supports over 2,000 female entrepreneurs in driving scale in their business. Now, this is what I would say in a networking session, which, understands these words and these nuances. If I'm in a network where, it's filled with CEOs of big organizations, I would talk about the impact that ItsHerWay is making. So I would start with my name, introduce myself. I founded the company that is 5 years old, and that company wants to enable 1 million entrepreneurs, female entrepreneurs in the region by 2030. And that is the goal, and that is the vision that I'm working towards. The same thing I've said, but I've said it in 2 different places because the audience is different. The CEOs of larger organizations might not find the number 2,000 very impactful, which the smaller network might. But how do I lure them in, and how do I keep, my brand and my name on top of mind? By giving them the numbers that they would feel more comfortable or they would receive in a better way. That's kind of making larger than life statements. Both statements are true. Ladies, both statements hold true, but the way you say it and where you say it would matter. You want them to stand there and ask you more questions, right? When it's a one-on-one, 1 million women or 2,000 women might not make a lot of sense. You would talk about what can you do for them? What can I do for them? And vice versa. So you want to craft your statement based on the people you're speaking to. And that might feel, complex right now, but if you write it down, it's going to be easier. The third thing here in this slide is ask before you pitch. Now, there is a way of kind of just reaching out to people. When you're in that networking session, you're in a room filled with people, somebody is talking to somebody, you find someone you wanted to speak to standing there alone, and you reach up to them, you go up to them, right? You probably don't start with, hi, my name is da-da-da, I'm doing this and I'm doing that. You probably want to first start with that statement, the compliment or the icebreaker, element that is talking about something different. How did you like the event? Did you find the event good? If they're eating something, you start talking about what they're eating and what you're eating, and just crack that, make it make it an even ground, and then take the conversation further. Before you take the conversation further and introduce yourself in that stage, you probably just talk about what do you do, and then go for it. And when that person is talking about what they do, intently listen. It's very important to intently listen, because you will then be able to craft your pitch that you're going to say to them after they stop and they'll ask, what do you do? You will be able to craft it better and make a more relevant statement. For example, if it's a party planner across from Aradhana, who's owning More by Us, and she does crochet gift items. A party planner would be potentially her partner, right? Because they can make giveaways together for the next party that she's planning. But unless and until Aradhana wouldn't have given the opportunity to introduce the opposite person, to the person opposite her, to introduce themselves, she would not have been able to pitch so relevantly. And that's the idea here. Ask before you pitch, and use impactful, larger than life statements to describe you and your business. And try to keep it short, which is 20 seconds, 25 seconds. Next up, one of the most meaningful and strongest factors that make or break, a networking session, a one-on-one networking session also, is the fact that you're not willing to offer help. A networking session only is successful when you've created meaningful business connections. And meaningful business connections would start from offering help and genuinely adding value to that person's time that they've invested in spending with you, getting to know your business, and vice versa. And you being the person who's offering that support and help, because when you give, you get. The second element is following through. If you've exchanged business cards, ladies, most of us don't carry business cards these days. We want them to follow, and we want them to, follow our page and so on and so forth. Even after that follow that person has done, right then, you must send a thank you note in the form of a DM, in the form of a message, whatever connection you've made, whatever channel connection you've made with that individual, just don't let it be there. They've made that effort to click on your brand, right? They've made that effort to connect with you. Why are you leaving it there? Why should you leave it there? Make that connection meaningful. Appreciate them. Extend your gratitude for connecting with them, and do the same. It's a handshake. A networking session and creating meaningful connections is a handshake. Make sure you do that. Another aspect of following through is just 3 things that you can probably remember. Ask for more information on the person's business. Ask more. When you ask more, you can probably create more potential business associations. You, your friends, your 6 degrees of separation. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that terminology, right? 6 degrees of separation. Everybody knows everybody in 6 steps. So the world is not that big. It is small. And it becomes smaller when you create these connections. So ask for more information that can help you understand their business better, and in return, understand how you can partner. Stay in touch, follow, engage, comment, and support them really, because they have done the same thing and they have initiated that conversation with you. Become the ambassador and share their name in a room filled with opportunities, even when they're not there in that room. You don't need to just be passively engaged with them. You can actively become their ambassador. And the reason you're doing that is because in hindsight, it's going to come back to you. What goes around comes around, ladies. And most of us believe that, don't we? Why don't we apply that in our business as well? When someone has taken time to listen to, your business and followed you, ask for more information about you, why don't you give them that space and that, exposure where they know that they can make an impact? Become the ambassador of that that person you've networked with, in a room filled with opportunities, especially if they're not there in that room. I strongly believe in that. The last thing that I want to share with you, second last actually, is you only get value when you give value. If you're not sharing the information that you've received from that person and you're expecting them to take something from you, buy something from you, take your services, why would they do that if you've not given them value in the first place? You need to do that, and it's always a transaction. Being a business owner, think about the potential business that you might get out of that person. And that usually doesn't come in the first go or the second meeting that you have with them or the second interaction they have with you. It comes over a period of time. Do not consider any connection that you make, especially when you're going out there to make connections, right? In a networking sessions, do not consider any connection that you've made a waste. Every single connection is an impact that you've made for your business awareness, right? You just have to keep at it. You just have to keep at it and make sure the connections you've made, you keep reminding them of yourself. Now, there are different stages and ages of business that you all are in. So I'd want to say one thing about how you can achieve that scale. Everybody does not have a system in place, probably for saving names, email addresses, and things like that. You can try and do that in a simpler way in the beginning, and then try to migrate to more technology friendly applications and things like that when your database becomes larger. But aim for that, because at some point you will want to talk to all of them again. You should talk to all of them again. Don't forget that. One of the main things that you can do is make that true connection. It might not drive value in the first place, but it will definitely drive value at some point. Every connection matters. Every point of data matters. I come from a media background. I started my career in media and marketing and IMC planning. One of the things that we used to talk about in terminologies is impression. Now, impression comes from the word impression, how your first impression is made, right? And that is still used as a terminology. The impressions you make is just that one flash of a second, or in a networking session, it's longer, it's 20 seconds. So you get, times 20 the opportunity that an advertisement online gets to make an impact and an impression. So don't waste that impression. Follow through to that, from that impression, and make them take an action for your business, for you, for engaging with you. That is what you, as your first brand marketer, can do. Any questions here, ladies? I'm just going to pause for a bit and just check my chats. Okay. You're welcome, Aradhana. Yeah, so next up is just a few tips on the kind of applications, networks, and just things you can use and download that would help you connect with people and stay connected with people better. So the useful links are, the first section over here is BizConnect, CamScanner, L Card Pro. These are all business card readers. digitization applications that will help you keep your business cards and contacts in the right space. And they're all linked to a directory. MailChimp as well, because it's a nice CRM platform, and it also has the ability to scan the business cards. It's a very nice feature on the mobile application. LinkedIn is an immensely beautiful and amazing platform that is created for individuals like you and me to grow their network. Why not look at LinkedIn as a marketing platform? Why just look at Instagram? They both have different reaches. LinkedIn, for example, just giving the example of the crochet manufacturer again, the crochet business again. You are a crochet business. You want to get more than 20 orders in a day, right? You want to get more than 20 items sold. Look at small and medium businesses. Look at the HR managers of those small and medium businesses. They are always looking for different types of gifts, different types of items to give, right? And you will not find them otherwise in probably the networking sessions you go to, or just in pop-up markets that you probably visit. You will find them on LinkedIn. You reach out to them, not for a job, but just saying, this is what I do. I'd love to see if you have any requirements, and I'd love to pitch in for it. That's one way of networking as well. LinkedIn is a digital form of networking, and it is one of the strongest, most effective. So even if you're a small business owner who's not looking for a job, LinkedIn is somewhere you need to be. It's not just a job portal anymore. It's not going to be a job portal. It is going to be more than that for you. Google Forms are great for getting database or getting that interaction going. If someone has purchased from you, if someone has purchased a service or a product from you, feedback free can be achieved and can be gotten from them through Google Forms. I'd like to add one of our ongoing collaborations that we're going to do. Just before that, I'm going to say a few words on the two other logos that we have. Dubai Chamber of Commerce has a council for registered business owners in the DED. It's called the Dubai Business Women Council. It's a nice place to network. You have a directory at place, and you have a very good support system there as well. You get trainings, you get access to a lot of things. So if you want to pay for that network, I think Dubai Chamber of Commerce's Dubai Business Women Council is a great way and a great platform. Creative Zone is also one great network to be part of, even if you're not going to buy a service from them or enlist your license or get your license from them. They have a great network where they can connect you to the right people as well. So that's another one. They are very strong partners with us. ItsHerWay is a member of the Dubai Chamber's Dubai Business Women Council. And last but not the least, OnMilly. OnMilly is a new collaboration that ItsHerWay is going to be launching. And we have here Ella Barnett, the founder of OnMilly. I'm just going to bring her into the panelists so that she can speak a little bit about her brand herself. Ella, I see you're there. I'm just going to allow you to talk.
Hi, can you hear me?
Hello. Hi, Ella.
Hi. Thank you so much, Armin. That was a great explanation, and I really loved all the advice you were giving to everyone. There's some really key points in there, particularly in regards to networking and following up and being really thankful. I think you're right, those connections and making sure that you follow up after every single one. That due diligence is key. But to introduce OnMilly, I'm Ella, and I'm the founder of OnMilly. And OnMilly is the UAE Small Business Directory. And unlike a marketplace, the directory gives users options in terms of businesses in general. It's not product specific. So for example, you can list any product category or any service category and list yourself under multiple categories for free. So the whole purpose of the site is to provide small businesses free exposure and enable users to find products and services quickly and easily based on specific keywords. Because currently on Facebook, on Instagram, you might follow a couple of thousand brands, but when it comes down to needing, a specific hairstylist or remembering what that really cool hair accessory brand was, you might have forgotten the name. And how do you now find that amongst your 3,000 following brands that you're following? It's just basically impossible. So the whole idea is to be able to go onto this site and search hair accessories. Maybe it's sustainable you want, maybe eco-friendly, maybe it's beauty products. So the idea is you can search anything and everything you want in one place. And so we're just starting up and encouraging businesses to list their business. It'll take about 5 to 10 minutes to quickly set up a page. It's pretty simple, like a Facebook or LinkedIn profile. You upload your photos, bit of a description, links to your social, and then you're done. The one requirement is, though, that you have a UAE business license of some kind. And just to sort of announce unofficially, officially, that at some point for Christmas, we'll be doing a partnership with ItsHerWay and giving the businesses on the platform an opportunity to be based, to be in a really exciting Christmas concept. So I'm really wanting to expose businesses even further and highlight the amazing products and services that everyone is working on, because there are some really cool things out there, and I think sometimes they're just not highlighted enough. So really excited to be working with you guys.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ella. Thank you for that. And yes, ladies, the members of ItsHerWay, the vendors of ItsHerWay, we are going to reach out to you individually and connect you in the right ways with OnMilli. And there's going to be more collaborations that OnMilli and ItsHerWay do in the next few months. And yeah, wait for the announcements. Thank you so much once again, Ella. I have a few questions now, ladies. I'm just going to answer those. Ella, is it okay if I put you on mute now? Thank you. Yeah. All right. Okay. So one question that has come here is how to approach a person correctly if a person is already talking to someone. It's not very polite to jump into the conversation. However, if you can hear a conversation that's interesting to you. Okay. So that's a very interesting question. Thank you for sharing that, Natalia. There are two ways of doing it. If you have something to contribute to that, conversation that's ongoing, and yes, if it's in a space where there is ongoing networking happening, you don't need to jump in. You just need to wait for that pause that comes in. Or if there is something that is extremely relevant and you need to jump in, don't shy away from jumping in, because that person, those two people, when they are engaged in that conversation, it's a conversation that they're having in that networking space, right? So it's not a private conversation. If it's not private and you're standing there and they've not moved away from you, which means it's not private, it's okay to jump in, because I believe, and I strongly believe, that that networking environment is for jumping in. And when you do jump in, try to add organically to that conversation and not just pitch in what you want to say for yourself. Don't try to be selfish, or don't try to just create an irrelevant conversation talking point, but try to contribute in a meaningful way, and you will be welcomed in that element, in that triangle. Then if it's a dual that's happening, it'll become a triangle. Then that's my answer to you, Natalia. Anybody else has a specific question? Please raise your hand and I can bring you in, and without the video we can have you talk about it as well. Anybody with a question? Okay. Yes, Aradhana. I'm just going to bring you in. Yeah, you can now talk, Aradhana.
Yeah. Hi, Armin. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, first of all, for this session. It's really meaningful. My concern is that the way I work, because I'm handcrafting my own products, I do understand the various facets of networking. I do try and do a bit of it. I'm sometimes, but sometimes I just don't have enough time. And employ or taking the services of somebody who can network for me, I guess I don't have the budget for that right now. I've already paid up for my license and other things, and you'd understand. So are there any tips there, as in how to be more efficient with your networking without having to spend too much time on it?
So I think that brings me to the question. I want to make it a little broader, if I may, Aradhana, this question, because I think it's relevant to understand how much time is good and good enough to spend in networking. So
Yeah.
on an average, I'll ask you first, how much time do you spend in actively networking every week? And ladies, please, if you can also answer that question in the chat with the number of hours, the number of days, it would just give this response a better, more finite meaning. If you can just put it in the chat. Aradhana, what about you? How much time?
Probably an hour a day.
Okay. An hour a day actively, physically meeting people, new people?
No, not
Then what
physically,
is that?
actively. It's through social media and or staying connected, and like you said, following up or interacting, more like that.
Okay, so you
Maybe
spend
an
what?
hour, maybe less. Yeah.
Okay, and is that hour consisting of the other activities that you do for your business as well? So not creating, but just the other marketing aspects.
Yeah, kind of, because the networking itself is kind of my marketing also, because through social media, I don't have any other channel as of now.
So I think it needs to be separate. And I truly believe that networking does not mean just putting your content out there on social media. And I'm guessing that's what you mean.
Yeah. No, I don't mean that. I also mean that interacting with people, or like you said, if I met somebody somewhere, following up with them. So I haven't been able to follow up with everybody yet. There are a few I have stayed in touch with. So that's my point. So ideally, I'd like to, there's so much on my mind that I want to do, but then my work takes priority. I have deadlines to meet, and then that takes a back seat,
Okay. So I would say there are two things to do here. Try to automate some of your responses and your customer relationship management things, which means just standardize your messaging. 3 to 4 automated messages that can be created for you to just send them whenever you've interacted with someone. Thank you so much for meeting me. Thank you so much for the order. Here is another thing. Here is a discount. Here is something that I'd like you to do.
Yeah.
Just keep that as a standardized messaging, series, and keep it as a ready space. Keep it in your notes, keep it in your Instagram saved messages, and many other places where you can easily access that. So your engagement or your first conversation does not take a lot of time to draft a new one every single time. That will save you a lot of time. If you have
I think that's great.
If you have 1 to 2 hours, try to optimize that by spending, let's say, 2 hours a day, one day, and drafting those messages. Keep them. And then you can always have those automated responses or automated conversations in the first go. Then if this opposite person is engaging with you, definitely take that offline or take that in a more meaningful way. But to keep that CRM element or customer relationship management element alive, even as a micro business like yours, it's very important to do that. Try to standardize. I think the second question or the comment that Ella has made, I want to drive on that because I myself also put a note on that, the collaboration element. And the example that I gave for your brand as well, Aradhana, was about, I'm just going to put you on mute so that people can hear you. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. The element of collaboration is absolutely important because you cannot do everything yourself. You won't be able to do everything yourself. So collaborating with, in a common business synergy, through a common business synergy that you can create with another brand. The example that I gave earlier in the session was about you networking with a party planner, right? An event planner who can probably consider your products as giveaways, as party favors, as something that you guys can create together as a standard for multiple parties that she wants to do or she has to do. She knows she can rely on you, and vice versa for targeting those kind of people. You come to a mutual agreement initially itself, collaborate, understand the business needs for each other, and then try to drive value for those business needs in a very active, constructive, non-selfish way. Now, why I'm saying such a strong word, selfish, is because most of us try to think about ourselves first. And that is where the business deal gets sour. Believe me when I say this, ladies. And for me, I spend more time consulting mentoring, and speaking to, business owners on a collaborative front than actually trying to tell them to pay for the services that we offer. Because I realize that if I am coming with a giver's mindset, if I'm coming with an attitude to give and make a difference in their business lives, the trust is already made. Whether they make a successful business relationship or they continue with me in a successful business relationship is secondary. As long as I have been able to, with my experience and as ItsHerWay, been able to help them in some way, my job is done. My job is done there. And the same thing applies to my employees, to my team, to my colleagues, to my network as well. I always come from that mindset of adding value to their current journey and then seeing if, the services that I provide are valuable for them in that journey. I don't want to be a force fit, because a force fit will always be a short-term relationship. It might just be that they're compelled to buy something from me or take that service from me. During that period of time, maybe they just feel compelled to do it, but they will not feel willing to do it. They're still not willing. So the difference between being compelled and only being compelled versus willfully doing it is huge. And the willfulness only comes when you're actually making a meaningful relationship. So that's a bit from me. Any other questions, ladies? I don't know if there are men here. I just said ladies, but I'm sure there are. Yes, all ladies. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So I think we're done here. Thank you so much once again, everybody, for attending. We are right on time, 2 minutes up from 1 hour. And yeah. Thank you once again for attending. Have a good evening. Happy weekend. Ciao.